All right. So m is your slope. Okay, so m has many meanings. I want you guys to write this down in your notes. M is slope. It's also rise over run. It's also change in y. Over change in x. Somebody put some perfume on. That is stinky. It's also known as rate of change. Okay, write that all down in your notes. This is super important. There's a lot of different ways at looking at m, and we're going to use them all this year. All right, so m is our slope. It's rise over run. It's change in y over change in x. And we write change in y over change in x as the slope formula. So we do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's our slope formula, which gives us change in y over change in x. Okay? We're also calling it rate of change. Okay? So here, when we have data in a table, it's very much related to slope. It's related to the rate of change, and then it can tell us if that rate of change is positive or increasing, or negative, decreasing, if there is no slope, or if the slope is undefined. Okay? So I want you guys to make this connection as well. Increasing is going to be a positive slope. You might want to write this down on your notes, connecting it to the words up here. Decreasing is going to be a negative slope. Horizontal is going to be no slope. I'm just increasing positive. I'm pointing to the word. It has nothing to do with the way the slope looks. Vertical is going to be undefined. I want you to make these connections. So you should have written down, Nathan, increasing positive, decreasing negative, horizontal, no slope, vertical, undefined. Okay, that's just that background information that's really important, and it's going to help you out with these types of problems, with slope, with rate of change, and when you're graphing. Okay, so let's look at table number 1. I need to know this rate of change in order to figure out my slope. I don't have to graph it. I can just look at these numbers and it's going to help me out here. So if I go from -2 to -1, what did I do? I what 1? So I went +1. From -1 to 0, what did I do? Added 1. Okay. From 0 to 1, what did I do? From 1 to 2, what did I do? Again, I added 1. Is this constant? Okay, let's check my y's now. From 3 to 5, what did I do? From 5 to 7, what did I do? From 7 to 9, what did I do? And from 9 to 11, what did I do? So it's constant, right? Now remember, I'm looking for my change in y over change in x, right? Yep. So my change in y is going to go on top. and my change in x is going to go on the bottom. That's my slope. Now listen, is this a positive or negative number? It's positive, right? But is 2 over 1, can I write that as a whole number? What's the whole number that I'm going to write? I'm going to write 2. So my slope is 2, and my slope is positive, so it's going to be what? Increasing, decreasing, horizontal, or vertical? It's going to be increasing. You're going to do the next one. Number 2. Go ahead and write the rate of change for x and y first. Rate of change. So you're writing the rate of change. All right, so what's my rate of change for x? So this is going to be plus 1 for my x. What about my y? Okay, so I'm going to write my y over my x, right? Because rate of change is rise over run, or rate change in y over change in x. So I'm going to write negative 3 over 1. Can I write that as a whole number? I can't? What can I write it as? Negative 3. Make sure you're paying attention. So my slope is negative. What am I going to write for my graph description? Decreasing. Easy peasy? Lemon squeezy. One more. I'm going to have you guys do it all the way and then check your answers with me. Okay, number 3. Jasmine. So what's my rate of change for x? What about 1? I'm adding 1, plus 1. What about my rate of change for y? I'm adding 4. Anybody else get anything different? So what is my slope for this going to be? Jasmine? Jasmine? Four over 1. Can I write that as a whole number? Jasmine, can I write that as a whole number? What's that whole number I'm going to write? So, Nathan, what's the graph description for this? Devin, what's the graph description for this? Tyler, what's the graph description for this? Thank you, Tyler. Okay, let's look at number 11. Go ahead and see if you can figure out the rate of change for x and y. All right, so Angel, what is my change in x? So I'm going plus 2 for x. And what about my change in y? There is no change, right? So I'm going to write this, okay, as change in y over change in x, and it's going to be 0 over 2, right? So what is 0 divided by 2? 0, okay? So if I have a slope of 0, what is my graph description going to be? Not vertical. My graph description is going to be horizontal. No slope. Okay? Horizontal. All right? Let's look at number 12. Do the same thing. Go ahead and see if you can figure out the change in y and the change in x. Matthew, what is my change in x? Matthew, what is my change? My change in x is 0. Matthew, what is my change in y? Plus 2, right? So I'm going to write this down again. Change in y. 2 over change in x of 0. What is 2 divided by 0? Okay, here's where it gets tricky. Okay, when your 0 is under the line, and I know I've talked about this, my slope is then undefined. Okay, when 0 is underneath the fraction bar, the answer is undefined. So what is this graph description? Go back to the notes that I gave you. And undefined means my 0 is under the line. What kind of line is this, Kevin? Thank you. My line is vertical. Okay? All right. So you will have a quiz tomorrow. I believe this type of problem will be on your quiz, plus everything else that we've done this week. You have about 10 minutes. Go ahead and finish your homework.